Hello everyone, welcome to our wellness webinar. I'm Ebony O'Meally, so I'm the ESS support nutritionist. So hopefully you all know me and have seen me by now. So today we're going through understanding food labels. We're going to talk about the legal requirements, the front of pack food information regulations, so reference intakes, and then also back of pack. And then lastly, we're going to touch on the traffic light system. So despite all of us going food shopping in our lifetime, only 27% of shoppers are looking at the nutritional label. A lot of effort goes into the food label. It's not just about nutrition. It's actually a legal document. So what is required? Well, the name, address, and the manufacturer or sellers or packers information has to be available on this the product sold. So making sure you're looking out for that. Also alcoholic strength. However, Leanne has covered alcohol in a previous webinar. So if you missed it, just go onto YouTube and you can find it on there at We Are ESS. So from this point, we're going to go through the criteria for labels. So we have the name, we have the list of ingredients, including additives. We have any allergens within the foods. Weight and volume. We have portion size, best before and use by date. Storage and preparation conditions. Country of origin or place of preference. Nutritional claims, health claims, and lastly, our favourite bit, nutritional information. So we're going to start off with the name, and this isn't the catchy name like Cocoa Pops or Frosties. This is the legal requirement name. So the manufacturer must provide a clear and non-misleading title for the product. It should also outline any processes that have been used to produce the product. So for instance, baked Wotsits are really cheesy flavour corn puffs. So they've chosen to put baked in the actual name of baked Wotsits, and then they've clarified exactly the nature of the product. Another example is soft apricots. Now on the title that they have to provide, that legal name, they'll have soft dried apricots. So again, just mentioning that process that they've done to the food. So a key tip that you should take away from today is that flavour and flavoured are not the same thing. So for instance, a fruit yoghurt, you can have a yogurt that's been flavoured using real fruit, and that is called a fruit yoghurt. Or you can have a yogurt flavoured using artificial flavours, and that would be called a fruit flavoured yogurt. So just making sure that you're looking out for keywords to actually know what you're consuming or what you're buying, because a lot of people think fruit flavoured yogurt and fruit yogurt are interchangeable, and they're actually not. So just being mindful of that. So next you will find a list of ingredients, including additives. So a product, if it contains more than 2 ingredients, it will have to have a list of ingredients on the pack. This includes water and additives also. So food additives are safe. They are used for a variety of reasons, whether it be preservative, gels, or agents. So don't be worried if you see any E numbers on food products. That's just a sign that they have been tested and are approved by the European Commission Safety. So they're absolutely fine to consume. So when it comes to the label, foods have to be listed in weight descending. So that means it will go from the highest quantities to the lowest. So being mindful when you're purchasing foods or drinks that have sugar, salt, or fat listed first or within the first couple ingredients, because that means that it's been used in high quantities in those products, and we should be aiming to cut those out of our diet. So next up, we have allergens, and hopefully everyone is aware of allergens and the food information regulations. So it only covers the 14 common EU allergens, and it ensures that these are highlighted on food labels in the ingredients list. So highlighting can be done several ways. It can be achieved by a different font or style or background colour. So just making sure you're looking out for that. It's just to help people avoid foods that are going to cause them to have a reaction. You may also find a voluntary statement. So some manufacturers will put also not suitable for customers with blank allergy, or also may contain blank. And that's just a safety measure. So it's not a legal requirement, but it's a safety measure if they know that there may be traces of an allergen in their food. So it's just best practice, again, making sure you're looking out for that. So the 14 EU common allergens are listed there, the key ones: nuts, eggs, and so forth. If you are someone who's allergic to pineapple, strawberry, or kiwi, this will not be flagged up in the allergen list as bold or highlighted. Unfortunately, it only covers the 14 EU allergens, so those ones listed. It doesn't cover intolerances either, so if you have an intolerance or you have an allergen outside of the 14 common, make sure that you're reading the whole ingredients list to ensure that you're not going to consume something that will cause you to have a reaction. So next we have weight or volume. So all pre-packed food that weighs over 5 grams or 5 milliliters will have to state the amount that you're purchasing in provision with regulations. So the weight and the volume must be within a few milliliters of that stated on the product. So you're not going to buy something and then it be considerably less, or buy something and it be considerably more. It has to be within a tight frame. Another example of this is the E. So you might see the little E symbol on some products. This is just the average system E requirement. So what it means is that an average pack of whatever you're purchasing will weigh at least the declared weight stated. So that's the lowest that it's going to be. So note that foods sold in cans with juices or liquids, they will tell you the amount of the food you're actually purchasing. So for instance, canned fish in brine, when you pour away the brine, it will have the weight of the canned fish net weight. So you will always know what you're purchasing, how much you're getting. It's just to make sure things are clear and not misleading. So look out for that also. Be mindful that volume or weight is not portion size. A lot of people think that they're interchangeable. That's not the case, and that will take us into our next session. So your manufacturer will recommend a serving size. Make sure that you're looking out for this, because it won't always be in line with what you perceive a portion to be. So for instance, we have Roundtree's pastels. So a lot of us will buy the pack and think that it's portioned for one. It's 52.5 grams. However, a portion recommended by the manufacturers is actually half of the pack. So I don't know about you, but when I go into a sweet shop and I pick up a pack, I'm not eating half a pack, I'm eating the whole thing. And it's just to show you our misconception of portion sizes, because originally I did think that it was portioned for one. However, it's not the case. So don't be fooled. Make sure that you're looking at the recommended portion size, not what you're actually purchasing. Looking at the weight or the volume and looking at the portion size will allow you to assess how much you're actually purchasing. So for instance, with this sweet, we can tell that we're purchasing 2 portions, not 1. So in theory, you should eat half, put it down for tomorrow and eat the rest. But I don't know if many of us do that. So next we go to storage and preparation conditions. So if applicable, the manufacturer will provide us with storage, preparation and cooking instructions. In terms of cooking instruction, it will tell you the temperature and the time to put the food in the oven or the microwave for. It can be tempting at times to just increase the temperature and reduce the time. However, that's not safe. We do not recommend that. Make sure that you're sticking to manufacturers' cooking time, preparation or storage. And that's because it's to ensure food safety. So to make sure when you're consuming the food, there's no issues, it's safe for you to consume, everything's been cooked. So make sure you are sticking to them. It's also going to help in terms of the quality of the product, improving the shelf life and also reducing food waste. If things are going to go off a lot quicker because we're not storing them properly, we're not going to get the chance to eat them and we're going to throw them away. So it's just about being mindful about the environment also. So please make sure you're looking out for these. So next we have best before and use by date, and these are not used interchangeably. Use by dates are for perishable goods, so your milk, your eggs, and your raw meats, your fish. Oh, sorry, not eggs, that's best before, but your milk, your raw meats, and your fish. Don't eat these foods after this date because it's unsafe to do so. The best before date, however, is about quality and not safety. So it's not dangerous to consume these foods after this date. However, we do recommend that you visually check it to make sure that it's edible. So for instance, a piece of bread, best before date, if you have a look at it, you see no mold, then it's good to go. However, if you do, you know not to eat it. It's about quality, so be mindful that the flavour, the colour, the texture are not guaranteed anymore by the manufacturer. So for instance, if you eat a biscuit that's past its best before date, it might be a bit stale. Again, that's just because of the quality is degrading, but it's not unsafe to eat. So just be mindful of that. So next we have country of origin. So the label will tell you where the food comes from if it's deemed misleading not to. So this is just to prevent customers from feeling misleaded. So for instance, a pork pie produced in Italy, this particular one, it should be labelled, and that's because it would be an English traditional recipe. So if you were to go to your supermarket, you would naturally assume that it was produced here. However, that's misleading, so manufacturers will have to state that it's from Italy. Manufacturers must show the country of origin for beef, veal, lamb, mutton, pork, goat, and poultry, fish and shellfish, honey, olive oil, wine, and fruit and vegetables imported from outside the EU. So any of those objects that you're buying, they should be they should be marked if they're not from within the EU. So next we go to nutrition claims. So nutrition claims express the level of the nutrients in a product. So it will either be the presence or the absence or the increase or the decrease of a food or nutrients. So for instance, let's say sugar-free, low fat, high fiber, and source of vitamin D. Now, manufacturers just can't make a claim and say, okay, this looks like it's high in vitamin D, so let's slap a label on it. They're not allowed to do that. There are strict criteria that they have to stick to, and they actually have to prove that their product meets that criteria before they can put these claims on their products. So for instance, the criteria for sugar-free is no more than 0.5 grams of sugar per 100 grams. So that's a really tight regular criteria to fit in. So if something was 0.6, they could not make the claim that they are sugar-free. Another example is high fiber. So it must contain at least 6 grams per 100 grams. So a claim can't be made unless it has that specified value within it. So do not be conned. Again, language is a tricky one. If something's lower, light, less, reduced, it is not low. These are comparative terms, comparative claims. So comparative claims are made between two products. So let's say a manufacturer that has a full fat cheese decides they're going to reformula and make a brand that's contains less fats. So they can say that it's a lower reduced fat product because it doesn't contain as much fat as the original or another product on the market. So just be mindful that they are comparative claims and they are not, they're not nutritional claims. So next we have health claims. So health claims will state or imply a relationship between a food product and health. So for instance, they will say calcium is needed for the maintenance of healthy bones. You might see that on a variety of children products that are high calcium. Because of health claims being a bit of a grey area, in 2007, specific rules were implemented to prevent misleading claims. So again, for the protection of consumers, the European Food Safety authorities have put measures in place. So what they will do is they will review a claim before it can be placed on a food packaging, and they do this by assessing evidence available. If they don't deem a product to meet the specification or to be of value, that claim to be of value, they will not authorize it. However, if they do, they will also go on to working with the manufacturers to provide the wording for the claim. So that's again to make sure that there's no misleading information, there's no claims being made that aren't necessarily true. Everything is closely regulated. They can't state that products prevent, treat, or cure a disease. Those are saved or reserved for medications, licensed medications. So if you ever see a food product that tells you it can cure this, it's not true. So don't fall for that. It shouldn't be on any products, but again, just being mindful of that. And if you are to buy a product that's for weight management, weight loss, they cannot refer to a rate of weight loss. So they can't tell you that you're going to lose 5 kgs per month from taking it. And they can't tell you that overall you're going to lose a certain amount of weight. So they can't say at the end of this trial, you'll lose 10 kgs. That's not allowed. So just being mindful of these little tips when you're looking at products or seeing products advertised online. If they have these claims, they are not suitable, they have not been authorized, and they are not safe to consume or to take. So nutritional information, the back of pack. This is our favorite part in ESS nutrition. So this is a mandatory piece of legislation. Manufacturers have to ensure that they provide the back of pack nutritional information, and they will have to declare the presence of 7 required nutrients, and we'll go through them in a sec. What you will find is that the values will be expressed per 100 grams or milliliters. If a manufacturer decides, they can do per portion. However, it isn't a legal requirement to do per portion. It's just best practice. So make sure you're looking out for per 100 grams or whether it's per portion. So required nutrient, energy is the first one. So energy per 100 grams. And they will have to provide this in kilojoules or calories. The remaining 6 required nutrients is fat, saturated fat, carbohydrates, sugar, protein, and salt. And it has to be in that order. So when you look at a food label, back of pack, it should be energy, fat, of which saturates, carbohydrates, of which sugars, protein, and salt. That is the formation that it must come down in. Now, it will tell you these 6 required nutrients is in grams per 100 grams. So we can see that there's 4 grams of fat per 100 grams of this product. Next, they can point out extra information if they require. So they can additionally add fiber, starch, monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, vitamins, and minerals if they choose to. And this may be just because they want to promote that their product has something extra. It's a good thing to look out for, but again, it's not required. That is the manufacturer providing you with a bit more information of their product. And lastly, if they do talk about vitamins and minerals, they have to demonstrate a percentage, and that's the nutrient reference value. So this is how much of that nutrients you should be consuming a day. So for instance, with calcium, they're telling you that you should have 800 milligrams, and their product contains 16% of that 800 milligrams. So just keeping that, micrograms, just keeping that in mind when you're purchasing goods. It's a good thing to have if you're trying to keep tabs of your vitamins and minerals. It's a good way to just know what you're having and if it's in there. But if they do show vitamins and minerals, it has to be in that method. So next we go to the front of pack. This isn't always available because it's not compulsory. However, it is best practice, and a number of manufacturers and supermarkets have employed it to make it easier for shoppers and consumers to look at what they're eating and make healthier choices. So not compulsory, but a good thing to look out for when food shopping. So it will show you a portion size. So again, making sure that you're keeping an eye out for what the recommended portion size is from the manufacturer. It will tell you the energy per portion. So we can see that there's 508 calories per portion. It will also tell you energy per portion in kilojoules. So it must have both of those available. It will also tell you energy per 100 grams. And this is key because a lot of people rely on energy per 100 grams to compare products and see which one's healthier. However, we always recommend to people not to base their food choices solely on energy per 100 grams. And that's because it isn't a reflection of fat, saturated fat, sugar, and salt. And something may be higher in energy, but it lower in those other nutrients. And it's those nutrients that we need to be mindful about reducing in our diet. So sometimes it's better to go for the higher energy products if low in fat, saturated fats, sugar and salt, because it will be a sign that that extra energy is coming from carbohydrates or other good sources. So just keeping that in mind when looking at per 100 grams, it's best to look at the whole label than rather just that one aspect. And next we have the amount. So it will tell you how much of a nutrient is in a portion of the product in grams. So for instance, we can see that there's 0.8 grams of salt per portion in this product. Below that will be the RI percentage. So RIs are reference intakes and they tell us how much we should be aiming to have. Well, it's a guide of how much of the nutrients we should be having. So for instance, for salt, it's no more than 6 grams. So being mindful that this product contains 13% of your salt recommendations. So again, it just helps us to quickly judge how much everything is contributing. You might see something and see that it's 63%, and that will be a deterrent for you to consume it or consume it in a large amount because you already know that it's going to contribute a lot to what your intake is. So some labels, RI labels, are color coded according to the traffic light system. So foods are given a color red, amber, or green, depending on the amount of the nutrients within them. So we have fat, saturated fat, sugar, and salt. And you also can see the outlines of the criteria for it. So again, fat we've discussed to be low is 3 grams per 100 grams or less. If a product was to be red for fat, it would be over 17.5 grams. So it's just an easy way for you to look at a product and know whether it's high, medium, or low. Again, manufacturers have to stick to this, so their product can't be higher and they put it as orange or lower and they put it as red. They have to stick to the category. So it's peace of mind for you when you're out shopping that it sits in the criteria. It's high, it's medium or low, it's green, it's amber, it's red. So it's based on per 100 grams and not per portion. So just being mindful of this when you're purchasing foods. It's not per portion, and it makes it easier to compare different products against one another. So using the label to make a healthier choice, we have 2 labels. One is for cheddar cheese, one's for light cheddar cheese. The name probably gives it away which one's going to be healthier. However, if you look at the label, you can see that there are aspects that are considerably different, and it would make you pick the lighter cheese. So our fat is lower, our saturated fat is lower, and we have a higher calcium value. In addition to that, there's also a higher protein content of the light cheddar. So if you were to make a choice, you would go for the light cheddar. And using the front of pack labels now to make a healthier choice, it's so easy for you to know which one's healthier. Just at a glance, you can see that the New York cheesecake dessert is much healthier. Well, it's healthier, not much healthier, but healthier than the Millionaire chocolate cheesecake. So again, just a quick view for you. You can see which one is going to be more beneficial. So make sure that you're looking out for the traffic light labels. So using labels to make a healthier choice. Use the front of pack reference intake to factor in products into your daily allowance. So you know that you're roughly around 2,000 calories per day. Just keeping that in mind and keeping these values, you can keep on track on your energy intake to achieve energy balance. Use the front of pack label to compare similar products and opt for healthier options. So we've seen with those 2 examples how you can pick a healthier option. Don't be conned by wording, so make sure that you're assessing the product lower low, less, reduced are not low. So just being mindful of comparative versus nutrition claims. Check the portion size. So again, don't make assumptions that it's portioned for one, making sure that we're looking. And monitor your total energy, fat, saturated fat, and sugar intake, and salt. Select products that are alternatives that are higher in fiber, higher in vitamins and minerals going forward. Get your vitamins and minerals as just stated. Use the descriptive term to understand the product better. So to understand what you're really consuming, make sure that you're looking at that term. And aim for a diet that consists mainly of green and ambers using a traffic light system. But remember, everything in moderation. Is okay to have foods that are graded as high. Sometimes they have nutritional benefits. So for instance, cheese, which normally comes up as high fat, it is a vital source of calcium. So it is something we should be consuming in our diet. However, making sure that we're sticking to the manufacturer's recommendations and having them as a treat infrequently in small amounts. So get involved. We have extended the time for our competition, so giving you enough time to get your recipes together and sent off to us. So you have until the 20th of July now. What we're asking is that you make up a healthy recipe that contains at least one of your 5 a day. Also going to show that you've used an alternative. So if it normally asks for full fat milk, you're going for skimmed or semi-skimmed milk. In addition to that, just a short explanation of why it's healthy and then a picture to go along with it so we can see how delicious it looks. So you can send that to us at essnutrition@compass-group.co.uk. We are looking forward to a few more coming in, so please make sure you get yours in before the deadline and have the chance of winning our prize. And as you already know, we are ESS. We are on YouTube, so go and check us out. Again, refer to the alcohol webinar that Leanne gave is available on there. So if you wanted more information about that in terms of food labeling, go and check it out. We have Nourished Life. So you can go on our website and go on the website. It's owned by the larger Compass Group, and there's information on there from executive chefs, exercise experts, and us as nutritionists. So it's a wholesome approach to nutrition, health, and well-being. So do check it out. There's some good information on there. And next, ask your ESS nutritionist. So myself and Leanne, you can contact us at any time. Feel free to get in contact. Any queries or anything you'd like to see us address in these webinars, please send us an email. So essnutrition@compass-group.co.uk again. We're looking forward to seeing your emails. And then coming up next week is snacks. So do tune in next week for information on how to healthily snack, tips and tricks going forward to incorporate. So we're looking forward to seeing you at that seminar. So I'm just going to see if there are any questions. If you have a question, feel free to send it now. So I think we're all good on this. Thank you for attending. Thank you for coming. I hope that you go away and love food labels and now you can't stop looking at them every single day of your life. I hope you gained something from today. They are a tricky thing to get your mind around, but hopefully we've covered some of the fundamental tricks, tips that you can use going forward. But with that said, I'd like to thank you for attending. If you have any questions that you don't feel comfortable asking now, send us an email and we can address that later. But thank you for attending. Goodbye.